What's going on YouTube? It's Brazen back here with another video for you guys. If you guys are enjoying the content, if you guys want to hit a like down below, subscribe if you guys are new here, and leave a comment letting me know you subscribe so I can welcome you to the family. And that being said, cue intro. What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to another Madden 20 video for you guys here today. What I'm doing today is going over the order of rookie premier players you should get. So basically ranking all 10 of them, 10 through 1. I'm going to do it backwards, obviously. That way the last one will be number 1. So without further ado, we're just going to go ahead and get into the list. Now, I will say this is not about their 99 overall cards, so I'm not going to show those stats because those aren't what I'm talking about. I'm talking about which are the best players that are going to help you when Madden 21 comes out early in that year. So the person that's coming in at number 10 on my list can also be number 1. And I know that is actually kind of confusing, but it is going to be Joe Burrow. So the reason I have him at last place on the list is for a couple different reasons. Now, based on this year, what they did with Kyler and what they did with the abilities, you are only able to get like one ability on the rookie premier players. So even if Joe Burrow gets a decent card in the beginning of the year, then you're pretty much stuck with, one ability if they still have abilities. Now, if they take out abilities, they switch the system, anything like that, I definitely think it would be better. But based off of what we have right now to go off of, which is no information about Madden 21, we just have to base it off of what they did this year. Joe Burrow would come in last place because personally, you have to want to use Joe Burrow, right? So for me, even if he had the most abilities and things like that, I would probably rather play with Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, players that will get cards very early in the year no matter what. Mahomes and Lamar Jackson will probably have, their core elites will be really high, and they'll probably get a card within the first couple promos or team of the week because they're so good. They'll probably have crazy stats. So that's why I have Joe at number 10, because personally Kyler was a waste this year. I never used him. I will say if it's on a secondary account, like a no money spent, Joe Burrow is one of the most important because even without abilities, you're probably still going to be able to throw the ball decent with him for completing solos if it's on like a secondary account. But that's why I have him coming in at number 10. So number 9 is going to be the tight end, Cole Kmet. So a couple different reasons for him as well. For one, he plays on the Bears, which they're not really a high-powered offense as of right now. Everything can change every year. You never know if Nick Foles or Trubisky are going to come back and play amazing to start the year. But I don't see him being in a lot of promos early in the year. I think Hawkinson's best promo might have been Harvest, which was already 3 months into the year. And even that, sometimes those cards aren't the best. So Cole Kmet, personally nothing against the card. It's just I probably won't be going for it. I just think it's kind of a waste for tight end. It's not terrible because at least you can play 2 to 3 tight ends on your roster, but I just personally don't think he's that useful. So coming in at number 8 is, I know maybe one that people didn't think I'd put so low, but it's going to be Xavier McKinney. And a couple different reasons for this as well. I don't personally think he's going to have a bad card. The issue I see with him is, once again, he plays for the Giants. We don't know what their secondary is going to do. DeAndre Baker had his corner card last year for the rookie premier. Didn't really do much. Didn't really get a card early on. Not to mention that there's also very good safeties, right? For this year, we had Pat Tillman. I don't see us getting another safety for Mutt Master or team captain. Maybe not Mutt Master, maybe team captain. They do give us a safety. But there's so many good safeties that usually come out. And since you usually only play 2 of them, this year you did play 3 with the meta, but a lot of times you don't even play 3. So is Xavier McKinney going to be good enough to beat out the Brian Dawkins, Ed Reeds, players of that nature, Ronnie Lotts? I don't know. Like I said, we really don't know what we're going to get, but I just personally, there's not a lot of depth at the safety position for, you only have 2 on your roster, but you really only play 1. So I personally just don't think he's going to have the best chance to get a good card and then beat out a lot of those other players. So that's why I have him low. Now, coming in at 7 is going to be a right tackle, Tristan Dwarfs, I guess is what it is. Now, the reason I have Tristan Dwarfs so low is because I think the Bucks have too many high-profile players that'll get promo cards before him. With the acquisition of Brady, Gronk, they have Godwin, they have Mike Evans, Devin White, they have a lot of good players, right? And just bigger names. So I don't personally see him getting a card, for instance, in a MUT Superstar, a MUT Hero, one of those early programs. They might not be the same names, but for programs like that, I don't see him getting a card. Linemen don't really get Team of the Week cards. Those don't really happen. So I'm thinking he might get like a heavyweight, but he might not be the best right tackle. He might be really one-sided like a lot of the cards were early in the year. So he might not even be that great. So personally, that's just why I have him so low on my list. So coming in at 6. Now, the top 6 for me are the ones that are more important. Personally, if I could get all 6, I'm going to. Those are personally the ones that I think have the best upside, as well as just will probably be good cards as well. So Derrick Brown, D tackle, plays for the Panthers. Once again, not too high profile of a team. Based off their defensive side of the ball right now, who's really going to get cards in those early promos? Maybe Derrick Brown, they might give him one. Maybe Brian Burns, because he got a couple cards this year. We know McCaffrey's going to get a card on the offensive side. Maybe DJ Moore's and Robbie Anderson's for offense. But defensively, they don't really have too much crazy stuff going on that'll give him new cards, right? So that's personally why I think Derrick Brown might have a better chance to get a good card, as well as be a decent card. He is a D tackle, so he's going to be slow, but he might have good block shed, which is going to be good enough. And you also can play 2 D tackles, or you can have him as your second D tackle and still be viable. So that's personally why I have him at number 6. I do think some of the other players maybe have a better chance to get some of these defensive Team of the Weeks, or just maybe a little bit better shot. But personally, I do think this is like the start of where the really good cards come in. Now, coming in at number 5 is Clyde Edwards. And the reason I have Clyde Edwards at number 5 and not higher is purely because he is a running back. And running backs usually are very easy to get good cards. So you go and get Clyde, that's great. Then they come out with the Marcus Allen like they did this year, which was by far the best card early on. And then Clyde Edwards becomes pretty useless, right? So like this year, Josh Jacobs was pretty useless. The reason I do have Clyde at number 5 on the list, though, is he is playing for the Chiefs. So for one, if you're making a theme team, this is going to be a good player to put and probably just stock on your team, because maybe you get like a free 92, kind of like I did with Devin Bush, right? Where you get that 92 overall, and he still could be your second, third running back, but he helps out with that theme team and he's free. Now, the other thing I will say about Clyde is because he plays for the Chiefs, he has a good shot of getting a Team of the Week card. Because they have so many skilled positions. But it's Patrick Mahomes at quarterback. So there might be a week where he throws 4 touchdowns or hands off 2 to Clyde and throws 2 more to Clyde, just because their offense is so high powered. They don't really care who gets the ball. So that's the only reason I think Clyde has a decent shot, but that's why I have him at number 5, because I don't think he's the best one to take, but I do think he is viable to take. So coming at number 4 is going to be Chase Young. Now, we know Chase Young's a beast, plays for the Redskins. His card's very fast. I believe this card has 89 speed, so his cards next year are probably going to be very fast. Pretty good pass rusher, pretty good block shedding. He plays for the Redskins, so once again, they don't have too many players more high profile than a big rookie coming in at number 2 pick. The reason I don't have him higher is because he is DN, and same thing this year, it was really hard to play with DNs. In the early part of the year, everyone was using edge threat on DNs, so if Chase Young's not getting abilities, it could definitely hinder him, because even if he has a little bit better stats than Michael Strahan did, right? People are just going to go ahead and use that Michael Strahan because they get abilities. So that's definitely could be a hindrance based off of what they do. And personally, there is good DNs as well. Usually a lot to choose from. So that's the only reason I have him coming in at number 4. So now number 3, I have CeeDee Lamb. And the reason I have CeeDee Lamb at number 3 is, for one, he plays for a good offense. Dak definitely can throw the ball. I wouldn't say he's an elite quarterback, but he definitely gets the ball around, has some good games. And CeeDee Lamb could be on the receiving side of that and get a Team of the Week card, things like that. Cowboys are also a popular team, so you're assuming that they're going to want to throw in CeeDee as much as possible into some of these promos. And on top of it, he is a wide receiver. So even if he gets a mediocre card like a Marquise Brown did this year, but he's really fast, you can still put him at your number 3, number 4 receiver and have him come in and still be decent. So that's why I have CeeDee coming in at number 3. Number 2 is going to be Jeff Okudah. So the reason I have Jeff Okudah coming in at number 2 is basically the same reason as coming in with CeeDee at 3. He's a corner, which means you could play him all the way through the top 4 and still be on the field for a lot of those formations, depending on the metas, things like that. He also is going to be a really good piece for the Lions. They don't have a lot of people on their defensive side since they got rid of Slay. So Okudah is definitely going to be one of the bigger names on that defensive side. So that's why I personally have him at number 2. He's fast, things like that. So number 1 is going to be Patrick Queen. And the reason I have Patrick Queen at number 1 is because of the fact that he's really fast as a middle linebacker. So personally, I think a really fast middle linebacker is a great thing to have early in the game, even if he's not the greatest overall. If you have, let's say, 85 speed on him early on, but he has like lower block shed, it doesn't matter if you're going to user him. That's going to 85 speed is going to be pretty good for early on in the game. He's also Ravens theme, so once again, him and Ray Lewis going to be a pretty good middle linebacker pair in my opinion. So that's pretty much the list. There's really no right or wrongs. I will say that because you never know who's going to do good, right, and who's going to get the best cards. But this order is just to kind of give you an idea of where I rank them. And then from there, you guys can go ahead and make your decisions on who you want and for what reason. So definitely let me know down below who you guys are going to be taking. I'm probably going to try to get 5 or 6 of them, somewhere around there if I can, because I do have a lot of coins and I'm getting like basically 2.5, almost 3 free ones. So that being said, drop a like on the video if you did enjoy it. Subscribe and turn on the post notification bell. And as always, I will see you guys next time.